Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below, the purchase and pricing question line for this or any watch you see here on Watchbox Reviews, answered by me and my hand-picked crew. That's tmosso@thewatchbox.com. And today we're talking about a 2013 Baselworld launch. This is the Oris Aquis Depth Gauge, 48 millimeters in stainless steel. This is an absolute juggernaut of a precision instrument for one purpose: diving and tracking your descent. The timepiece, of course, is larger than life, though from lug to lug it's not as broad as I thought. I expected something like 57, 58 millimeters. This is a rather reasonable 54.3 with downturned lugs that wear quite easily. The thickness of the case, well, at 15.2 millimeters, I was frankly shocked that it was that thin. You can see that the bracelet is proprietary and so is the junction, but it makes for a nice proportional step down from the case to the lugs to the bracelet, and you can see that the bracelet's held in place by screws and bars for absolute security. Buyer's note: this watch has a monstrous boxed set with it that includes strap tools, an accessory deploying clasp with dive extension, plus a strap for use on this watch, and of course the tools to switch, as well as the bars to fit, and an enormous Pelican case containing all of that plus literature, so you get one hell of a set when you buy this watch. Let's throw it on my wrist, 16 centimeters in circumference, and get a sense of how it fits. Not bad. All things considered, it's monstrous, but then again, you can read it from a distance, and that's the idea. Legibility is optimized. The purpose is clear as day, even when the water is murky. You can see that because of the shape of the lugs, it sort of wraps around the edge of my wrist and doesn't really flare out on either side, as it's not much broader than my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and I can see this being comfortable on a 14.5 centimeter circumference wrist. It is substantial though. You can feel this is a lot of metal. It's very impressive to see and to hold. The bracelet, as you can see, is a proprietary piece using faceted links, which is a little bit unusual. Links usually have more of a rounded profile. These have a pronounced geometrical character to them. You'll also note that everything is contrasting satin and polish, and in profile, Oris does not cheap out. Despite the fact that Oris is regarded as an entry-level brand, you can see that removable links are fixed in place by screws, not pin sleeves, and there's plenty of gapping on the underside to avoid pinching skin or pulling hair. The clasp is a substantial piece. It feels milled out from the solid, and you can see that the twin trigger release, no clamshell here, twin triggers, very secure. We do have a milled single swing arm deployant, and then we have a fold-out dive extension, plus 3 divots that have been drilled so you can re-anchor the bracelet and micro size to adjust using a strap tool. And of course, this watch comes with a strap tool. All of it's very impressive and redoubtable. I never get the sense that this is an entry-level piece. The satin-finished case flank is different from any Submariner or Seamaster, so it does a good job of not looking like the market hegemon. You can see that there's really no Omega or Rolex here, and even the crown guards are modular, held on by screws. They can be removed and replaced if they ever get gouged. A little bit of a vintage-inspired polished big crown profile with deep knurling for easy grip, and you can see there's a combination of satin finish as well as polish for contrast, with the bezel itself featuring satin recesses and polished outer lip. You can also see that there's a polished strip beneath the bezel that's mostly decorative and handsome. I'm glad it's there. Note the case back, featuring your conversion factors. You could see a combination of feet and meters, so you can rapidly convert if you live in a 19th century society like mine here in the colonies, or internationally you can go straight to the meter measurement. And it is a 500 meter water resistant watch. The timepiece with a unidirectional rotating dive bezel. Let's hear it against the mic. It's an outstanding ratchet. It feels great. It sounds great. Line it up with the Leaf style minute hand, and now you've got a 0 to 60 minute count up timer that's actually more intuitive and easier to read than a chronograph. It does feature a ceramic insert for scratch resistance and to shield the rest of the watch. The dial is no nonsense, matte black to reduce glare. You can see that there is a port up at 12 o'clock, and that admits water into a tube that is graduated to allow you to read down to 100 meters, a sort of depth effect whereby the meniscus between the air in the tube and the water that will gradually compress the air, that meniscus acts as the indicator of your present depth as you dive. Now, as you can see, it is a high-grade dial, despite the fact, again, Oris is an entry-level brand. This is not a printed dial. All of the indices are applique. Underneath the case back, we have a Sellita SW200 doing business as the Oris caliber 733, 26 joules, bidirectional automatic automatic winding, 28.8 beat rate, stop seconds, quick set date, 38-hour power reserve, and again, all of it water resistant down to 500 meters. A SW200 is the equivalent of an ETA 2824, so it can be serviced anywhere. It's tank tough, very reliable, and can be adjusted to keep outstanding time. So properly, a tank tough movement inside a tank tough watch. A very innovative take on the wrist dive watch, dive depth gauge, essentially a genre created by IWC in 1999 with the Deep One, but unlike that, which requires complicated servicing and testing gear in the field, this is pretty much set it and forget it and infallible. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And we're back with the Oris Aquis Depth Gauge by Night Blue Lume.